first date. I don't do that. I was like, I want to know who you is before anything. And as I'm talking, those shits in the table like,
movies went great. We decided to like go and get food, and we got food, and we sat in my car. We listened to music, we were talking, and
like 3 weeks. You know, she was on her own, though. You know what I'm saying? I ain't feeling that.
and like, okay, it got so bad. It was to the point, like,
significant other's love language is important, so that way you know how that person receives and perceives.
And you're in a relationship, but we like keeping together. We're in a situationship because we've already established.
This is the situationship talk.
It's Monday. We're back for another episode. I got my people with me. Guys, how are you on this Monday, ladies and gents?
what's going on?
I'm doing good.
doing good.
Fantabulous.
Listen, y'all. So we are back for another episode of Situationship Talk, Season 3, Episode number 2. Today we don't have a guest because we have a very important conversation that I think you guys are going to get a lot of insight on. And we are talking about relationships and religion, how religion affects relationships. So let's get it going. Let's start with raise your hand if you are a part of a religion. Do you consider yourself to be religious? Anybody consider yourself to be religious?
No, I'm a spiritual man.
Is that the same as going to church?
You say what?
They're the same of going to church.
I mean, because some people will say it's different. I don't think I'm a religious person, but I go to church.
I'm not.
Okay, you go to
church is a Christian and Baptist. Church is not
Church of God in Christ, AME, the Jews, the Catholics, everybody.
Catholic churches, but black folks are mainly what, Baptist and Christian.
No, they're not. Black.
I know some black Catholics, but I'm just saying,
Jews.
Majority of you got black Jews.
Muslim.
Yeah, Muslims.
You got a lot of black Muslims.
Well,
between
Episcopal.
Between Baptists and Muslims, you got a lot of black people in that religion.
I'm irreligious.
Irreligious. Is that a whole?
Irreligious.
Okay.
Please define.
Explain.
Irreligious. It's a definition. It's a real word. Irreligious means I don't have a religion. I'm spiritual. I believe in a higher power. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't put a name on my worshiper, quote unquote.
Yes.
Okay. So you don't put a name on it.
And what is that called again?
Irreligious. IRRELIGOUS.
Jehovah's Witnesses. I forgot about them. Thank you.
I came from a Jehovah's Witness background.
So how did you?
How you didn't remember that?
What you say? What you say?
How did you?
Well, my grandma and my grandfather, they were originally in the religion. My mom and my uncles and all of them, they grew up in it until they got old enough to get out of it. Usually that's how it happened. A lot of us, we got old enough to the point where we didn't even stay in the Kingdom Hall because of, I don't know. I didn't like what was going on or whatever. It was boring to me. It didn't catch my attention. Don't get me wrong. They had a lot of knowledge when it came to things, but I felt like it just wasn't my calling.
So I think that is a perfect point of exactly what it is that we are having this conversation about. It wasn't your thing. It wasn't your calling. So were there some things in the religion that dealt with relationships, right? So from a Jehovah's Witness standpoint, what were some of the relationship things? What was marriage about within that denomination?
Now, when it came to courtship, they had a chaperone. Like they had to have somebody like come with you, like say you want to go out on a date with one of the women in the congregation, they would have one of the elders come along and they would chaperone and watch y'all and stuff like that or whatever while y'all out, so just nothing inappropriate could potentially happen.
That sounds like an Orthodox Jew
It's like,
about the
yeah,
chaperones.
it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind
As
of.
adults or young adults, like teenage years or
No, I'm
period.
talking about adults, period.
Okay.
I mean, to me, it's kind of cringy. Like, I don't want you in my business. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, Chad, you
Okay.
can't be trusted, so I really can't blame them for wanting people to go with you. Supervise they
wow.
dog.
But what about their daughter though? They daughter can't be trusted either.
So chaperone. So what about
Okay.
like JT, right? I think the male perspective on this may be like super interesting. So did you grow up in a religious background before you decided to reach out to a higher, to believe more so in a higher power? Did you grow up in a religious background, and what was the ideologies behind love and marriage? How you grew up?
So I grew up in a Baptist household. My grandfather owned numerous of churches in Tyler. My aunt, we used to have to go to church every Wednesday and Sunday to dang, what is it in Oak Cliff? Not Ibach, not Friendship West, the other one on Camp Wisdom. Forgot the name of it, but we was going there. Tony Evans, we was going to Tony Evans every Wednesday and Sunday. And religion was in my household, but marriage wasn't in the household. Mind you, a few episodes back, I said that I really didn't have an example on what a good marriage was coming from my household. My mom and dad, they separated, divorced when I was about 18. But I never seen them love on each other. I never seen kissing, hugging. I never seen it. Actually, I never seen that nowhere in my family. Nowhere. So religion and relationship really didn't play a part in my family because they never put those two together to make a bond out of all of it. So the reason I went my separate ways wasn't because of love or anything, it's just because the research I did on quote unquote religion.
Okay. And what about you? How did religion play in the relationships that you saw, or what you've been taught relationships are supposed to be?
Oh, well, my grandfather was a pastor. Well, he was a pastor. Then I have uncles and cousins that studied theology. I mean, yeah, it always plays a part. Yeah, it always played a part. It plays a part in mine as well, but I wouldn't say I'm religious. I definitely practice more of a Christian Baptist belief system, but I wouldn't say I'm quote unquote religious because I do believe that man played a lot. Man played a lot of in the Bible, in writing the Bible. Definitely some changes have been made. There have been some interpretations that have definitely been incorrect in the Bible that we read today. So, it plays a part, but, also make your own mind up. But, I definitely seen it growing up, and it'll play a part in my relationships as well.
So how? Tell me how it played a part in your relationships.
That's a good question. I guess more like the faith and believing and praying for your partner. Saying things that like mention religion, like, going to church together or praying together. Of course, wishing and like blessing your partner, I guess, is how I play the part. I wouldn't say quote unquote scriptures, but like just being active in the church with my partner, with how religion would play a part.
Okay. Tweet. How does it play a part in your life and or your relationships? Religion.
So growing up, I grew up in a non-denominational church, but I would think it was kind of like borderline Pentecostal, right? So it was definitely no sex before marriage, going to hell is a sin, and so that played a part. Growing up when you were younger, you just didn't kiss, court, have sex, or anything like that. So
that's why Juanita for the house.
Why she be in the house?
I didn't say that I went by the rules. I said that was the rules.
She was nasty. She was one of them nasty church girls.
I didn't say that I did that. I said that was the rules.
Juanita say,
Well-
don't put that on her. She didn't say that.
She been outside the house. She just in the house now.
I've been outside. I said those were the rules.
So for me, I guess like everybody else, my grandfather was a pastor as well, but he stopped kind of ministering he wasn't active as a minister at that time when I was growing up. But my family is very big on marriage before babies and, not shacking, like these are not living together,
Right.
cohabitating. These are things that I've been taught. People believe in being married. So I feel like when people get pregnant, they got to go get married. So those are things that I saw, and I knew for me, young, I was not getting pregnant because I wasn't going to get married. And I don't know, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was that I saw it and I just didn't want to be forced to be married. So I said, okay, if I don't get pregnant, I can't bring no shame on the family by being pregnant outside of marriage. And then they don't have to go get me a shotgun marriage. Like I just did. I just didn't want that. So I have come to figure out, like in our communities, a lot of people who I think all of us have kind of stepped back and we view religion differently, right? Spirituality. How we approach things, because I'm gonna get me some worship in, but I am not like religious per se. You know what I'm saying? Like as you say, AM, I would say I was more aligned with the Christian Baptist background, but I can get my message and word from anybody if you're really got a message and a word, right? And align. But for me with relationships, I think like the whole death do us part. Like, does anybody ever think about that when people are getting married? What does that mean?
Like, no matter what you do, we married. I don't believe in a divorce. So you're gonna cheat and get it on out your system. Like for real, they really be serious about it. You cheat, get it out your system, but I ain't going nowhere.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Right, but that's the point.
Late night on Wednesdays at Bible study. I ain't going shit. I'm going to hoop.
See what I'm saying? And we're getting these comments, and I think that last page hit it perfectly on the head, right? That's what I'm saying. To death do us part. I feel like a lot of times
sound like slavery.
But are in marriage vows, right? People still use this verbiage.
True.
Slavery.
Right.
It sounds like slavery.
This is still the verbiage. People are afraid to get divorces. Women, think about how many women have been victimized and have stayed in relationships where they really stayed married until death did them part.
But that's my husband and I love him. I love him. I just want to work it out. Whole time he in the strip club.
Well, you're talking about the strip club. Like, I'm less concerned about the strip club, but what about the ones who get that their husbands actually kill them? Or their wives actually kill them? Like,
they love them to death.
To love them to death.
Like those ones.
Yeah.
So
I see that. I see that a lot in like when I was growing up, right? So when you were married, you're married. So and you're supposed to pray about it and forgive your husband, but no divorce. That's kind of like how it was. No matter what he did, right? Just go, pray about it and ask, no. And I think, like you said, that can get, and women get, if it's like, a religion or whatever reason they stay, and it's not even healthy, but they're going to stay because of, their Christian belief or whatever beliefs that they have. And the marriage could be horrible, but, you talk just to pray about it and, pray.
Right. Pray about it and be depressed and stressed and
pray
about
right.
it.
That's a
generational stress again. Yes, that is. Curse. It definitely is. But here's my question. Okay, not a question.
Marriage people.
This not a question. So, I've had run-ins with women who were church driven. You know what I'm saying? Very religious. We hit it off well. Good connection. Everything was great. But the barrier was the religious part. I need a God-fearing man. I need a what he say? My
Hey,
grandfather
Very
just
who is this?
respected.
having
Who's leaving
sex
the
with
comments?
church pianists. They tripping. Fat chicks lifestyle. They tripping.
I love
Not
it.
20
But these
But
years.
They
that's a true
this
tripping.
is
statement that
real.
she's
That
that is
happens.
This
said.
is
That is
real.
that's
Yeah,
100.
That's
that
it's
happens to
true.
Boy,
people.
these
It's
pastors
true.
out here nasty. I
They
don't fuck with
nasty.
pastors
They
at
real
all.
nasty. But
This
but
is
I
real.
but I had to run in with a few women that were church driven. You know what I'm saying? Religious. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like there was no way you was gonna get her to change her mind. Otherwise, that she's dead set on her belief. You know what I mean? Everything was great, chemistry and everything, but that was the barrier between us, and we could never progress because I didn't want to be a Christian or a Baptist. I didn't want to go to church. I don't want to go to church with you. No. You can go to church. Go ahead and do your thing. That's your thing. I just feel like if y'all both like each other, why is that even a factor?
Because
Why
religion
can't
plays
Okay,
a
It's
factor
okay.
in
in
the
why can't
Bible.
you
compatibility.
but why
Religion
can't
plays a
The
but why
factor in
can't
Bible.
you
compatibility.
okay, but you saying this in the Bible, but the Bible to
No, I'm
me, I
just saying
feel like
if she's going by the Bible, it's in the Bible. Like don't make
yeah,
up
The
yeah,
Bible.
that's
stuff.
what they say. It's in the Bible, and I feel like it's a
Bible
Yeah.
book of Old
displays.
Testaments to keep you in check. That's
Well, it's
how
not
I
just that,
feel.
but even if take religion, like religion, unfortunately plays a part in relationship. Politics does, of course. Religion, of course, ethnicity plays a part. It's just part of the things that you have to have be compatible with your partner because it's going to cause issues. And then
Right.
sometimes you can't compromise. I mean, that's a big. That's saying that other people can't. She couldn't compromise. She couldn't accept that you weren't going to be doing the same thing she was doing in regards to religion, so she couldn't be with you. I
But
mean, it's
why
other.
not? But why not understand each other's religion? You say
Facts.
okay.
Yep.
Say we don't worship the same religion. Why not take the time to understand each other's religion to the point where you respect
Be-
each other's religion and still know
She
how
said
to
she didn't
love
respect
each
it.
other?
because
Who
the
said she didn't
reason they
respect
not
it?
gonna respect it is because they are trained to not respect it. That's why I'm gonna be
Well,
honest.
Yeah.
her
No, I'm being
walking
honest.
away, her walking away
Being
is not
being in
not
religion
disrespecting it.
is damn near being on contract. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm gonna take the elephant out the room. You know what I'm saying? People that don't look outside the box, they're gonna be stuck in a box. They're gonna see
That's
is I
true.
need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this
All the time.
all the time. I've dated women that didn't even bring up religion. You know what I'm saying? And then when they did bring it up and I told my beliefs, they listened. And it was like, damn, I like how you think. If it's not gonna change.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, religion is like a damn pizza. Either you can have the typical pepperoni and hamburger, or you can be your own and create your own pizza. You don't have to eat my pizza, but I
Right.
respect what you eat, and as long as you respect what I eat, and we respect what each other do, that's all that plays a factor.
I want to understand, how does she disrespect your religious views? By not wanting to listen is not disrespecting it. By telling you because you don't have the same as me and I can't be with you isn't disrespectful. Being disrespectful is downplaying, belittling, or just saying that your religion isn't as good as hers. She just stated that because you didn't have the same religion as her, she couldn't be with you. Doesn't mean you're less of a good person. Doesn't mean that your religion is wrong or it isn't right for you. It's just that she can't be with you based off the fact that you're not. I'm the same way in regards to someone that I was talking to was upset with me because I said I couldn't date a witch based off of my Christian Baptist like viewpoints. And I was like, that's my personal like opinion. Does that mean that I'm like have any issues? Anyone that, said they're a witch or practice any of that? No, not at all. That's their preference, that's their right, that's their choice. I just personally cannot be with someone that says that they're a witch just based off of my personal preference.
But see,
Religion,
all witches ain't bad witches. That's
they
what
not.
people fail to
Who
realize.
said that?
It's
You see what I'm
You
not.
put
saying?
the
No, no,
word
no. Who said
y'all
that?
look at
You
it
said
bad.
bad. I
Y'all
didn't say
look
it was
at it.
bad.
I'm
See, you said
saying,
the
but
same
people
thing.
look at it
You're putting
as a
words
bad
in someone's
thing.
mouth.
But people look at it as a bad thing because
People
the word
do.
witch
People do.
is
But
in
what
I ain't
there.
never
about
said that either.
we're not looking at it bad? We just don't. That's not.
Just don't want it. Not for
That's
me.
not like I don't
Just
do
don't
tarot
want it.
card readings. Like right,
Not for
these
me.
people who do tarot card readings, I have no issue with you, but I don't need you to tell me what's gonna happen in the future.
Them
No.
niggas
Not
be
my
lying. Them
thing.
I
niggas
don't want
on
it. I
that
don't
part.
care.
Okay, witches. not my lane. I don't even watch scary movies. You know why? Because my grandma used to tell me, watch what goes in you, right? If you consume certain stuff, that stuff comes out in you. For me personally, for JT, my question and you and last page becomes where the issue becomes, how do we raise children when we're not looking at things the same way, when we're not viewing the world the same way? So if I am spiritual,
I can talk on this because my son,
you got kids.
My middle son wants to be a pastor. He's raised in a Christian household. So my thing is, as a father, you gotta let your kids, experience what they want to experience. I'm not about to force nothing of my beliefs onto him. Just like I don't want them forcing beliefs onto me. My oldest son is spiritual. My oldest son has came to me and asked me questions outside of a box. And then when me and my oldest son is talking, my middle son will walk off and put his fingers in his ear because that's what he's trained to do. His mother trained him to, when I speak spiritual, to walk off. That's cool. That's totally fine because I don't want to confuse anybody. So when they ask me questions, and my kids will tell you, when they ask me questions, I'm straight up for it. I'm not one of these parents that beat around the bush with my kids. I don't. My kids can ask me about sex, drug, alcohol, all that. And I'm going to tell them straightforward because I've learned growing up that these parents that beat around the bush make insecure kids. And then they want to go out there and see what that's all about. Me, I'm going to tell you what it is. Yeah. You don't like what I say? That's you. You ain't got to like me. You ain't got to deal with me. But as the world is so ass backwards, all religion is love. That's the only thing religion is at the end of the day. But no one doesn't see it like that because everyone is trying to put their religion over someone else's. Everybody wants the best religion. So when they die, they'll go to quote unquote heaven. That's the only thing religion is. So when it comes to my children, whatever my children want to believe in, that's totally fine. That's totally fine.
Thank you. She said it. She just said it right there. The Bible is full of spells.
Yes.
She just said it. That's a known fact. That is a known fact.
But what does it have to do with which? Like, what does that have to do?
That's actually manifesting. If you ask with your mouth and you believe in your heart, that's more so, in my opinion, manifesting.
Nothing wrong with crystals. Nothing wrong with sage and everything. That all I said was I didn't want to date somebody to say they're a witch.
No, it's not the
I don't want to date. I don't want to date a pastor. I don't want to date a nun. I don't want to date.
I don't want to. I never dated a pastor.
I don't, none of that. But it doesn't.
That's gonna fuck you and your kids.
But what does that have to do with anything? But people get so offensive when you
speak
about a separate religion or a separate belief because they think you're attacking it. She thought I was attacking it because I said I one day the witch. I wasn't attacking it.
And that's about
preference.
That's
right. And that's about a level. Right. That's about a level of respect that it comes to.
Yeah, that's respectful.
And like you said, I hear what JT is saying, and I respect that. As a woman, I think we pre-plan, and maybe Tweet can agree with me because she's already a mom. We pre-plan and we think about like, how are we going to raise our kids? What are we going to teach them? We're supposed to introduce them to something, per se. Yeah. And that's a conversation in my household that we have because I don't like little churches. So if I got to go to church, I don't want to be member number 40. Where the pastor knows me by name and he can walk up on me in the grocery store and say, "Good morning, Miss Shaw. I ain't seen you at church in weeks." I don't want to be a little church.
You like mega churches.
I like mega churches. I really like online church. I like giving my money to support. I'm still at my home church. I like giving my money so my church can continue to grow people, build in the community. I don't have to be there. I don't want to know the gossip. I don't want you to know me like that. I just want to serve. That's
Candace gossip and big and small.
I'm not giving no money. I'm not giving no money, no tithes and offerings. I'm not doing none of that because it's not going in his pocket. He's not getting no benefit of my money. And he ain't finna go and be tricking off and doing no other little trick shit with my money.
I don't know where doing none of that.
Every pastor is like that.
Every pastor is like that. The pastor and the pimp are the same people.
That's the real peas.
My grandfather was not a pimp. He wasn't swindling money.
Right. I think that's the thing, right? as I've gotten
Lord.
older, my ideas, like JC said, I think it is important for us to explore. My ideas have gotten different on church, right? So last page, to speak to what you speak to. For my church, right? You can see the work that the money does. You can see the scholarship money. You can see how many people we fed during the pandemic, how many people we put gas in their car, how many homes we built. So I think that we need to, because as JT said, it's all about love. And it's also about being a servant. So if you serve a higher power, our main goals in this life are to serve. Mm-hmm. So I think that when we're all having the conversation, where we're all basically saying where the Bible kind of gets, tossed out there and we're going, it's been rewritten. When it comes to relationships, we have to examine all of that, because if I'm a person with a service heart, and you're saying the pastor is a pimp,
right, that ain't gonna work.
We're not equally yoked.
Because,
right.
I'm not leaving money to the church for the pastor. I'm leaving it for the community. I'm leaving it because
then you guys wouldn't agree on that. Like, you giving money for church, and he like, you don't give my money to, so it'll be
the pastor got to give the gab like a pimp. He talk like a pimp. When he get in mode on stage, he be like, yes sir. He talks like a pimp. He come up like a pimp. He gather people in with his words. He had people feel like they on Stockholm syndrome.
Who hurt you?
Pimps do.
Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Well, that's why you have to date someone who, and that's exactly why you have to date someone who has those same viewpoints as you. It wouldn't work for someone. Especially you, last page. It'll never work with nobody.
I get where
it ain't gonna never work.
I get where everybody coming from. I do. My thing is, it goes back to sacrifice. Yes, I know you're going to say this is your preference. That's cool. But if you can't give an inch of sacrifice, it wasn't meant. And I'm going to use an example. I dated a chick who thought the same way. I'm going to have to give my money to this pastor, this church. This is me. The state funds churches. That's how they get bigger. My thing is, I told her, I'm not giving you money to a church. If you want to give to your community, you come out here in these streets, you go feed these homeless people. We put in our community, in the Black community. And she said, I understand where you're coming from. I understand. And right there, that's how me and this person sacrifices what we didn't have in common, but we still put an inch of it together.
So JC, would you marry a Christian woman or something?
Yeah, I don't look at religion. I don't.
Okay.
I don't look at religion at all, because my beliefs, if you don't like what I believe, then we're not meant for each other.
That's what cool. I'm saying. Because
but they wouldn't like what you believe. If that's what I'm saying. What is she? So how would you? Okay, so how would you date someone that
don't care?
But if she does, we're talking about a woman that does.
Okay.
So if you date, say. So would you be able to marry a woman that wanted to go to church and give her tithe and her offerings? But you just fussed about it, though.
If that makes you happy, sweetheart, you do that. Now, when it comes to, if I don't want to go and you get mad, then we good.
Exactly.
Yeah,
don't force that on me.
Way.
I respect what you do, respect what I do. Just know that I love you. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to have nothing to do with that. That's your thing, and I got my thing.
Because Juanita, I messed a lot of girls up before I got married. And everything I'm talking about before I got married, I messed a lot of women up because I don't believe in heaven and hell. And I told a lot of girls that, because I don't have religion talks. And they like, what do you feel? And I tell them my beliefs and how I came to this belief. I don't want you to think I'm just somebody making something up. And half of the girls, this is why I respect Erykah Badu so much. And I'm gonna pass this after I say this. One thing, Erykah Badu, we all know she's a very spiritual woman. She believes in higher powers, God and goddesses, just like me. She said, somebody asked her, how do she get her man to act the way she acts? And she said, because I listen and I pay attention to them. A lot of women don't come into a man's life listening, because y'all already have expectations on what type of man y'all want. And then when we start talking nonsense, quote unquote, to y'all mind is leaving. So, and that's some women, Because if you ask me about religion, I give you an answer and you start playing on your phone and this and this, you don't care for me.
Yeah, you have
I'm
no
not your
interest.
preference. I'm not your preference. That's cool. Everybody on this earth is not meant to be with each other.
True.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why I go half on dates on the first date.
That's who's going half shit.
Oh, you go
You
Dutch
take
on
your
the
half,
first date?
you go pay tithes. I'm gonna go take my half, and I'm gonna get in these streets in this community.
I never went Dutching before, ever.
Even getting in the streets, right? So sometimes, and that's my thing. Like I said, as I've gotten older, I see like I can see. So for me, I've gone to church my entire life, right? And I've been in Concord since I was like 6 years old. So I've seen the growth in our church, and I know, as you said, I know we be in them Oak Cliff streets.
Y'all
Like
do.
that was the mission. That was the mission over when we were on Polk Street during Pastor Bailey's lifetime.
Yep.
Concord Missionary Baptist, I know Concord is in those streets. So I know my money is going in a good place. And I see what you're saying on that. Whereas we're last page talking about, I don't know where you go to church or have seen these pastors in 2022.
I done went to churches where they had ATMs inside of there. What kind of church got an ATM in there?
Abach has an ATM. A lot of the churches have ATMs now. They have become businesses, right?
Yeah,
so it is that separation. And that's what I said. So when you are we limiting our dating pool because we do have these religious beliefs or these non-religious beliefs?
A lot of people are though. You got women. I want a God-fearing man and blah blah. He could be the man that she always wants. That's just a deal breaker. It's the deal breaker.
I mean, I do need somebody to pray for me. I do want to know that you pray strong, positive prayers over my life, because I'm a prayer strong, positive prayers over your life.
Because
and JT said he's spiritual, so JT will get more of a pass than what last page is getting.
No. Listen, I'm a very. Dude,
you pray to the ancestors?
This? I pray to the ancestors. I pray to my black ancestors that I know that been here.
Let me make this clear, okay? Because I'm a very spiritual person, and I take my spirituality very serious. What you see back here, this is a mandala. This represents karma. Basically, what goes around comes around. I have healing crystals. I have an altar where I pray to my ancestors. I'm very serious about this. People ask me, if I'm a warlock because I'm so deep into it. I don't like to tell them yes. I say yes and no, but I know my stuff. Trust me.
I say, yep,
yeah.
So, in all,
so in all.
So
got real deep.
JT, when you got married, did you have till death do us part, or did you guys write your own vows?
We wrote our own vows. So my wife's best friend, her mother is non-denominated. She doesn't believe in a person coming back to save us. But me and my wife has had talks about that, and her views became my views, so it got easier. So we knew if we reached out to Brittany's mom, she'll be the perfect one to marry us in. But we didn't do the death do us apart thing. We didn't do that. We just, you know what I'm saying, we just did our vows and, prayed to the ancestors and all that they watch over our marriage.
Okay. So to go even further with that, right? Being Black, how are families, Christian families, how are they taking this?
Ooh.
Like, what is it? Because I know in my family,
they're gonna look at you a little crazy.
So
what particular is it? Particular ancestors that you pray?
No, you pray to all your ancestors. You pray to everybody who fought for you to be here, to where we're at right now. You pray to everybody who fought. It's not any particular. Like for instance, my dad, my grandmother, my grandfather, everyone who's in another dimension, all of them have passed on. But Literally, I scare a lot of people that I cut off my lights and sit Indian style and meditate and call their names. I literally, every time I do that, I have a dream about them because I believe in dreams. I believe when it's so much I can go deep into, but I don't like to defend. I don't like to offend anyone that is any other religion because the last thing I want to hear is you going to hell because I don't believe in that spot. But when it came to my family, I told my mom, I said, I don't believe in Jesus no more. And my mom looked at me and she said, but do you believe in God? I said, I do. She said, that's all that matters, sweetheart.
Okay.
She's like, as long as you believe in somebody. I said, I believe in a God and a goddess. I believe in the sun and the moon. I believe in the universe. I believe a black woman is the powerfulest creature on this earth. Hell, I can pray to a black woman, if anything, if that's the case, because they're more powerful than anything. And
Sure.
people don't know that.
Sure.
Facts.
So what
Y'all
about
just
what
over
about
here
you
speaking
guys?
different languages and shit. You said something, and he said something bad,
Listen,
and all three of us up here like,
Me and LP know
Ashura is a goddess. She's a goddess of love.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, me and LP know what's going on.
Yeah,
Okay,
I'm burning some
with
sage for Candy over there.
Oh, baby, you don't need to burn no sage for me, honey. I appreciate you, but I don't even let everybody pray over me. Okay,
No.
so I'm one of those. My spirituality, but I don't burn sage. I talk to the ancestors, as JT say. I call them out by name too sometimes because I know that they watch over us to protect us, and that's originally where we come from. We talked to the ancestors. That was a part of our African culture. But with family, what happens if you bring a chick to the table and she like, don't want to pray? Like, are y'all praying at dinner time? Or are y'all like grabbing hands in the prayer circles when the family prays? Like, I just got questions.
It depends on what side of the family. Like I said, one grandfather was more of a pastor, and the other one was more like a bastard. So, it depends on what side of the family.
So what?
A pastor and a bastard.
Okay, I thought she had said something else.
No, so it depends on what side of the family. So one side I would say is more religious than the other. So maybe we like when we get together, we're praying over food. And the other family is more like, come get a plate, pray individually if you feel. So
okay,
it really depends. But no, I mean, I've had a family member when my grandfather was still alive that decided he was going to be Muslim, and my grandfather talked about him all the time. Every time he come in the house, he talk shit. Every time. Never failed.
You got some bean pies?
Never failed. Just relentless on his ass. But the rest of the family was like, we don't care. It's your choice. Like, it don't matter to us. And it went back and forth. They would argue with each other in regards to basically which religion was better. And it's like, both of y'all just sound stupid and disrespectful to both of your religions. Like,
but what people fail to realize is we're living in a spiritual warfare. This entire time, it's always been a spiritual warfare.
Yeah.
Listen, y'all, I'm from the South. My folks are from the South.
That's what's Candy.
I don't know how old y'all's people are, but in my family, especially my grandparents' lifetime, it just wouldn't fly. It's just not like you don't have to. You just can't come in the house with certain stuff. Like, and I tell people, and that's why we're talking about this, because it does matter what you believe in when you're trying to create a union of some sort. Yeah. However, you're looking to create that union, because I'm very family oriented and my father and mother are not nice people. So some of this stuff, my parents are going to be looking at me crazy. Like,
what the fuck?
What's wrong with you?
You thought this was okay.
Yeah. You thought this was okay. And you just can't bring everybody to their house because then they believe that you the devil. Like, something is wrong with you. And that's why I had these conversations. Like, I don't have parents. My parents are too old to evolve at this point.
I've been there before. I remember one day I went over a friend's house and they were praying and I said amen instead of amen. And then the grandmother looked at me and was like, why you say amen? I was like, I don't got time to explain. And then she was like, well, why you got that? What's that around your neck? I was like, it's an unk. She like, what is that? That's devil worshiping.
See,
I was like, I said, you know what? I said, I'm gonna leave. And she was like, yeah, I think it's best you leave because you the devil, sweetheart. I said, that's fine. I said, I like, I thank y'all for everything. Y'all have a good day.
what's the saying? He who judges cast the first stone.
Exactly.
And the first ones who be doing it be who?
The grandparents.
But she should have also, and that's what I'm saying. My sister, my dad, that's his words right there. He will be like, that's a bunch of bullshit. Like, I dated a dude that said he didn't vote. I don't think my daddy ever spoke to that dude again. Like, period.
I don't vote. Midterm elections only. I don't vote for presidential.
But if you're voting in midterm and you're voting in local, then that. But again, I come from a very, like, my parents are very, and my they believe what they believe.
They believe what they believe.
Yeah, and that's what you've been taught. And so I thought she was wrong for taking you over there and not warning you how her folks was coming. Like, to me, she should have warned them, and the disrespect would have never occurred because then they would have been at least prepared. They would have said whatever, they would have talked about you once you left, which would have been okay, but they would have been disrespectful to your face.
But I remember a time where I went to family reunion on my wife's side, and like I said, I'm spiritual, so something drew me. Literally, something pushed me back from everybody that was praying. And this is a true story. So they praying. We out in Louisiana. This is South. We in the country. They praying right here. Jesus this, Jesus that. I respect it. I'm sitting there, but I felt a force push me back. So I'm going backwards, not walking backwards. I turned around and walked off. It was a group of men right there talking about spiritual 666. And all this other stuff. And I'm like, yo, it's funny that somebody pushed me over here with these people. And I was like, so everybody over here is spiritual. And they was like, yeah, we believe in a higher power. You know, we respect them over there. But, you know, that's their preference. And we still love each other. She's like, but this time we kind of separate from each other, but we come back. And I found it mighty funny that a force pushed me over there. So it's all about what you believe in. And if the world could actually see that, the world would be a better place because our grandparents was taught. They didn't have no other choice but to be taught a religion because they believed in that during the time. Because my great grandmother is 103 years old. She believes in that. I can't tell her. I've told her. And did she flip out? Of course. But you've been on this earth 103 years. I can imagine what you was taught as a child. I can only imagine.
But you had to have something to believe in, right? So, and that's my perspective, right? You say your great grandmother's 103, baby. My granddaddy would be 122 if he was alive. So,
correct.
You know what I'm saying? My roots to slavery are extremely close, as I tell people.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, coming out of that where I was raised, and I tell my mom sometimes, my grandmother was raised by a slave. Literally, her grandmother was 3 years old when slavery ended. So some of this, we do have to go in and unlearn or find our path. But we got to realize that sometimes family is not going to understand it. And that's, we got to know who our family is. And I feel like we got to know who to bring to our family. Because ultimately, if you're a family person, you're not going to show up. You're not going to stop going to family functions because you fell in love. At least I'm not.
Nah.
Right.
So we got to find a way to balance it. Yeah, and
because my family,
and that's what we saying. Your family.
If I bring a witch or a person, no offense, JT, the fact that you don't vote, even though you said it's not presidential, that's disrespectful. Like, if your ancestors would be pissed as hell if they found out you weren't voting.
No, they wouldn't.
Even though you're voting in the primary and all that, they wanted voting in entirely. They wanted every right that every man and woman should have.
But that's what they was taught. Our schools don't even teach us the midterm. Our schools teach us only to vote in a big presidential. Our legislative and Senate are the ones that make the laws. The president.
You should vote. You should vote in every aspect.
No,
because it's your
right.
And people have lost that right. People didn't.
But what have we gained for voting?
To give you.
Do y'all vote locally?
I vote locally, but I want to know
vote in
what have we
every
gained.
aspect.
They passing all these bills for everybody else. You hit it. I ain't even finna talk
Don't even
about
get
that.
into LP.
I ain't even finna get into that.
Well,
I'm not even finna
I'm
do
a
it.
child of a politician.
They done passed all them
I'm a child
bills.
of a
All Asian
politician.
They ain't
laws and
did
shit.
nothing for us.
Well,
Nothing
And they
for us.
still
They
not
just
gonna
passed
do
a law
nothing
in
for
Florida
us.
for black people to stop talking about. They just passed a
Critical
law in
race
Florida for
theory.
black people to stop talking around white people about what we went through. We will face
Yes,
jail time.
that's what I was gonna
And
say.
that's the reason.
But y'all
Yeah.
want to
That's
vote.
the reason why we have to vote. Like, I work in the schools. Critical race theory is an issue now. But as a child of a politician who's been involved in politics since I was 12, when we get our feet on the ground, we have the opportunity to change things. You have to have people in position in order to be able to do that at different levels. Now, when we get to presidency, we know that's
entertainment. That's entertainment.
It's a slight slope.
It's a slippery slope. But I would encourage, people were getting water hose turned on them, and we're going into Black History Month. People were getting water hose turned on them and dogs turned loose on them just for the fundamental rights to be able to vote, to be able to sit in those positions. And again, these are things that when we talk about relationships, we have to have these conversations before we get in relationships.
Right.
Because you do need people. There are people that believe the way you believe, which I think just makes things a little easier. Because these aren't things that you have to go back and forth about. It's not like you're walking into these families in this hostility, like you going to war when you should be going to enjoy the family.
Well, even if you're going to war, at least if you and your partner relate, then you have an ally. Because if I bring a wish to the table, I'm also not gonna be on her side. I'm gonna be talking about her too with my We're gonna make jokes. We ignorant. We're gonna make jokes. Like,
and that's why I wouldn't bring everybody. AM. Everybody can't handle that. Everybody.
Here you go.
Everybody can't handle that.
Everybody, you didn't mess up with my family members. Everybody can't handle it.
People are ignorant, and I mean, like, family isn't like, they're not mean and hateful, but they would think it's funny. They would literally think you're funny that you believe that type of stuff.
Let me ask y'all a real question, a real political question. Us voting, with all the voting system that we've been going on, that's been going on this long, what has changed since we began to start voting? And be honest, what has changed?
I mean, we didn't graduate from the black high school. None of us graduated from the colored high school. Right.
Segregation?
We didn't graduate from the colored high school.
Segregation still going on in Mississippi.
What part?
Delta, Jackson, a whole bunch.
I do that. No,
come on now.
There is no segregation. There's no colored schools.
Arkansas still got segregated schools. What you think?
No.
I cannot believe. First of all, we are in the South. We are in the South. I cannot believe that y'all are being oblivious to segregation. It's still going on right now.
It's not at the same levels, guys. Like, but that's, again, these are people who don't vote. When you go into some of these counties, in these communities, these are people who are not voting. They don't want people assisting them. They like the way things are because it's easier for them. There are a lot of things that have changed. As my sister said, there were 17 black judges elected in the state of Texas a few years ago. They're judges 40 years old making it. When we're talking about criminal justice reform doesn't exist if there aren't black attorneys. We can go to integrated colleges or integrated. You don't have to go to the HBCUs anymore. There are a lot of things that have happened.
And there's a lot of those non-black people that go to HBCUs.
Yeah. We're not saying that there's not more progress that's needed.
Oh yeah, definitely more progress.
We're absolutely not saying that.
That just started happening.
What just started happening?
A lot of Caucasian kids coming to HBCU.
That didn't just start happening.
That didn't just start happening.
It ain't just started happening, but I'm saying there's a lot more Caucasian kids than
because we have diversity funding
that's been going to them.
Right, we have diversity funding.
But the HBCU kids, they don't like it. They feel like it's a slap to the face.
But who said that? I'm an HBCU graduate.
Right.
I saw an entire documentation with them expressing how they felt about others coming into HBCU colleges.
And here's the thing. I graduated from Prairie View A&M University, which is a land-granted institution by the state of Texas. right? So to tell A&M that they have to have diversity, but we don't, but we want federal funding. So we've got to understand how the law works, right? We got to understand how the law works, why the law works that way, and why it's necessary. We're also now a part of some of the top universities in the country because of our status. So there, when it comes to education, there's a variety of different things that go into that, and you must understand that. Would we prefer our HBCU to just be HBCU? It would. We would. But those are also your experiences. My experience was Black. Like my experience was a Black experience. And when we talk about relationships, my parents and my dad and all his brothers, they met their wives at the Black institution. So there's power in everything that we do. And I think there's power in the fact that we can have this conversation and we believe differently.
Right. I went to a PWI and I'm happy I went to a PWI. No offense to any HBCU, but I have no problem with my PWI. And that's predominantly white institution. I did not go to HBCU. My campus was
I said that before. What you said down there.
I love her. Who is that?
I don't know who that is, but I don't think we listen. I don't think we all disagree about that because what happened in our community. So there's a lot of stuff like we've got to learn how to fight. We got to learn what to fight for, right? And I think most of us, as we get older, understand that. Okay, never mind. I can't say that. I'm a teacher, but anyway,
I don't agree with the stay segregated. I don't think we should stay segregated.
What you think we should say? Separate?
No, I don't think that. I don't think any human race should be separated. I think if other countries can blend and be perfectly okay, then the United States needs a lot of shit we need to fix. But I don't think segregating races is a positive.
You know, a lot of
don't let me get on
nationalities. Like say when you go to New York, they are segregated. They are like you got the Puerto Ricans over here, you got the Dominicans over here, you got the Jews they are over there. And they're in New York and all the different boroughs, you know, hey, those are the Blacks over there, the Dominicans over here, and this is over here, the Puerto Ricans. They are segregated.
And look at the hate crime rate in New York. Look at the violent rate in New York. That isn't working. By them isolating themselves when they come in contact with a race they're not familiar with, it causes incidents. Why? Because they're not educated enough to know that they're not in danger. They're not aware that we're just
these other cultures get paid big money to come to the United States and set up shop in our Black communities.
Living tax free for 7 years.
I disagree with that. And what they should do is they should actually get to know the community and actually want to help the community. The issue is that they stay segregated and they only work and they have these businesses in our community. They don't know shit else about us. That's what the issue becomes.
No, they know things about us.
No, they don't. They don't want to know.
How do you think they come? How do you think they come to set up a beauty supply house with weave in there? There no Black people are going to go to that beauty supply house.
Exactly. Let a Black woman try to make let a Black woman try to open up a beauty supply. She's limited to supplies, and they're gonna charge her an arm and a leg to get the same supplies that they get because they don't want her to win like that, like how they win it.
That's why when you go to a Walmart in the hood, they have Black products. And Oak Cliff, that Walmart on Ann Arbor, that's where I go for all my lock supply. When I go to the Walmart in Addison, they don't have nothing for Black people.
Right, but the buyers, we're having we could go on and on about this because it is about the buyers and the districts and who runs the regional offices
and the census that I'm pretty sure and most Black people don't fill out.
The Black people don't fill out.
I felt that out.
But we need to do a better job.
You have to do the census. That's why people complain about Black people not having any money. Fill out the fucking census.
Oh, she got mad.
Because I hate that
people want to be that Black people don't have money.
No, your community doesn't have money because people don't fill out the census, and that's real fucking
because
fact.
It's underrepresented.
It's underrepresented.
When it's time to give out. When we talk about voting, when it's time for the budgets to be allocated, because in those neighborhoods the census was never completed, then we don't know what areas in which we need to allocate the funding. Now, so the funding is not always coming in because we're not always doing what we're supposed to do. But these are conversations in our communities that we have to have because in a relationship, I need to know questions like, Do you fill out the census? Like these
That's
things
real.
that we think don't matter, they really do matter. Like, are you gonna vote in May in local election time
Right.
when we need to elect a new mayor?
The
Are
census
you
is a
gonna be
two-sided
involved in your
sword.
community?
The
You
census
say
is
what?
a the census is a two-sided sword, but I'm gonna let
How are
respect.
your great grandkids gonna find out about you? It's gonna be on the census. Whatever's on the census, they will be able to go back and
Yeah, that's
pull
how I
as
found my
well.
great grandfather.
I mean,
That's
that's why I
real.
said it's a two-sided sword.
Yeah.
It's a pro and a con to it.
I agree.
Yeah,
They can
because
find you.
they can find you. It's not even that, but they can find you. It's that, but
find you.
that's also like, I'm never mind. I'm not even gonna say it because I don't know who monitoring this shit.
She
and
said we still not equal, and she right. The
I
only
love
time
her.
the only time
I
we are
love it.
equal, the only time we are equal is when we playing good old boy roles.
I
That's
didn't
the
say
only
that
time
segregation
that's the
made
only
us
time we
equal.
are
doing
I
equal.
just said that segregation was needed. It never made us equal. Segregation never. When we all became one, it wasn't equal. It should have been equal, and it should have been equal. But yeah, when he desegregated, it wasn't equal. But I don't think it was a horrible idea at all.
I mean,
And we only
it was
desegregated
equal
for funding.
to us.
It was
You know what I'm
Black
saying? Like,
people only wanted to desegregate for the funding. Black people wanted to
True.
be able to educate their children. It wasn't that they wanted to go play good old boy.
Right.
Black people simply, my grandma talks about how she went to school from like first grade through the 12th grade in the same room. Like Black people and Black teachers were being educated way back when at places like Prairie View and Howard and Hampton. But you've got kids K through 12, and these are like some of the smarter people in one room. We needed the funding. So a lot of things we have to make decisions. And as JT said earlier, the word sacrifices for things that matter most to us. So they made sacrifices so that we could get educated. They made sacrifices so that,
who do we get our funding from?
From the state, from the government.
We could really start our own government, to be honest.
Exactly.
With what money?
I mean,
And
there's a lot of powerful Black people with money, but
a lot of powerful Black people. Tyler Perry sitting on $1 billion.
It's a lot of powerful Black people.
So we're gonna separate and start our own. We're gonna start our own world.
I mean, we had Black Wall Street, and no one talks about that.
That's in our community.
And if they would have rebuilt Black Wall Street, man,
they're trying to. They trying to because I'm in the Black Wall Street committee in Oklahoma.
Okay. That's what's up.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things. Listen, we can have to say that for next month during Black History Month, because that is a deep dive. I mean, and those things do matter even in relationships, right? We come full circle with the relationships that we have. And like JT's work, if you're doing work within the community, you got to have somebody that's willing to do work within the community with you. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why we got to agree on some of this stuff. We can't be in relationships with people that we are on totally different ends of the world, because we're not going to get accomplished what we need to get accomplished.
Nah.
So, any final thoughts as we get out of here tonight?
Black people vote. Black people fill out your census. Black people find people compatible for you.
Compatibility.
Find somebody that fits your world, your vibe, your activities, the things that you believe in, and
find your person.
Love each other properly, man. It's cold outside. Don't get no homosexual. You know what I'm saying? Get somebody that got
get somebody that got their own.
And homosexual is homeless. Make sure you vote midterm elections so you can get the racist ass white people out of the House of Representatives, out of the Senate.
We need Ted Cruz out of here. We need
okay, this is not a political. Abbott. Listen, we gotta have money. We gotta have money. So you gotta be donating to those political campaigns if you want these things done. So if I cannot campaign and help, if you're not gonna give some money to the campaign, your maximum, that's how we make a change.
Yeah.
My partner running for district council in Oak Cliff. Shout out to Vontae Peters. He got my vote.
Vontae needs some money.
You said you're running?
No, hell no, I ain't running.
He said Vontae.
Oh, okay.
Vontae Peters.
Okay. So
shout out to that Senate. Shout out to that future U.S. Senate that was puffing on the advertisement. Y'all seen him? Gary, what's his name? Gary something, man. I forgot his last name, but he got my vote. He got my vote for sure.
Well, Guys, this has been Situationship Talk. We thank you for spending a nice long evening with us. An hour with us. Until next week. Good night.
Good night.
Good night,
So
y'all.
I've had
Why is love language
situationships
important?
where I have been
Well, I think it's good for your
in
partner
a
to know
relationship
who
with
you
this
are, who you
person,
truly
and
are,
then
and what
in
you
a
like.
situation.
So if your partner doesn't know who you are
So
and what
I
you
think
like, then
that
there's no need for you guys
feelings
even being together in a
are
relationship,
about,
situationship, any type
you
of
know,
ship.
who you
Because
are
if you're
as
in
a
a ship
person.
that
So I've
doesn't know
had
each other, it's definitely going to sink.
situationships